It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a wonderful day in this neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? It's always a pleasure to be in this neighborhood with you. I've always dreamed of being neighbors together with you. So let's make this most of this wonderful day. I'm glad you've come by. I hope you can stay. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Will you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor. I'm glad we're together again today. We've got a special treat. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different than we normally do. But first, it's cold outside. I think we should light a fire. There, that's better. Now we have a cozy fire so we can enjoy a nice fireside story time. So what I wanted to do today was, I have a lot of really good memories regarding Masters of the Universe, and I thought it would be fun to share some of those memories with you. Some of them I've told before on this channel, but I like telling these stories. But more importantly, I wanted to hear stories from you, from the viewers, people that have supported me over this past year and have watched my videos and watched my interviews and commented and followed me on social media. You guys are the reason that I'm here, and I've had a very enjoyable year. I've been able to talk with a lot of really great people, make some new friendships, and learn a lot about how Masters of the Universe is being handled right now, from the television shows on Netflix and with the comic books that are currently being created. It's been a lot of fun, and all of that has been possible because you guys tune in and watch the videos that I make, and I really do appreciate that. And so to celebrate the Christmas season and the holidays, I wanted to enjoy hearing from you and sharing those memories for others to hear. So let's begin our story time. Our first story today, our first memory, comes from an Instagram follower that goes by Rawfin81. Rawfin says, "Sadly, I have no picture, but my dad made a power sword for me and the sword of protection out of wood, and we played a lot with it." I think that's a good memory. I remember my dad, we grew up on a farm, and we were always, finding scraps of wood and building weapons and stuff out of them. And I remember my dad made my brother and I a pair of wooden sais so we could play Ninja Turtles. So I think that's a really fun story. Thank you for sharing that, Rafi81. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Our next memory comes from a Twitter friend who goes by the name of Eve Hoshino. Eve tells me, she says, "In the quiet moments of my childhood, when the world seemed vast and full of possibilities, I found solace in the enchanting universe of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It wasn't just a cartoon for me. It was a journey that unfolded in the company of my father, a voyage through time and morals that shaped the person I am today in the chaotic tapestry of the modern world. As a little girl, the allure of He-Man was not merely about the captivating adventures in Eternia, but the precious time I spent with my father, sitting side by side on the living room floor, our eyes glued to the screen. Those moments were more than just episodes. They were the threads that wove the fabric of our bond, creating memories that stood the test of time. He-Man became more than just a character. He became a bridge connecting me to the warmth of my father's presence. Beyond the action-packed sequences and epic battles, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe imparted invaluable life lessons and morals. The cartoon was not just a display of strength and power. It was a showcase of compassion, justice, and the unwavering belief in doing what is right in the face of adversity. In the face of adversity, He-Man and his companions demonstrated the importance of courage, kindness, and selflessness, values that echoed in the young heart and lingered in my conscience. In the midst of the chaos that often engulfs our contemporary world, the teachings embedded in the animated tales of Eternia serve as guiding lights. He-Man's commitment to protecting Castle Grayskull and the inhabitants of Eternia instilled in me a sense of responsibility, urging me to stand up for what is right and just, even when faced with challenges. The diversity of characters in the Masters of the Universe also played a pivotal role in shaping my perspective on the world. It showcased that strength comes in various forms, and each individual, regardless of their background, had a unique contribution to make. It instilled in me an appreciation for diversity and the belief that unity, understanding, and cooperation could overcome even the darkest forces. As I navigated the tumultuous journey from childhood to adulthood, the teachings of He-Man became a compass guiding my moral decisions. In a world often plagued by confusion and discord, the unwavering principles of the Masters of the Universe became a source of strength, empowering me to face challenges with integrity, compassion, and resilience. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, with its captivating stories and timeless morals, remains a cherished chapter in the narrative of my life. It isn't just a cartoon. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, the enduring influence of a father's love, and the transformative impact of values that resonate through the ages. In a world that constantly evolves, He-Man's lessons endure, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of goodness and the importance of carrying those childhood treasures into the complex tapestry of adulthood. Thank you, Eve. I think there's a lot to take from that, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share that memory and those thoughts that you have about this property. And I think a lot of that resonates with many of us. It's something that we all experienced when we were young, and we've carried it into our adult lives and found strength in the lessons and the memories that we have. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. So thank you, Eve. Our next memory comes from another Twitter user who goes by the name MotU Origins Cork. MotU Origins Cork says, I usually don't remember my dreams once I wake up, but since my teenage years, shortly after I got separated from my MotU collection, I have this recurring dream that I can remember. It's always a little different, but it has one thing in common. At one point, I end up in the department store in my hometown. It is shut down many years ago, but it was also the place where I bought a big part of my MotU collection. So in my dreams, that store still exists, and I do find masters there. Back then, what we now call vintage figures, but also unreleased ones. This dream I had multiple times per year for roughly 30 years. And then 2 years ago, I discovered Origins, the Origins timeline, or the Origins toy line. I had it one more time, but now it has stopped. This longing for my toy line, the only toys I ever collected, is finally over, and I can't even express how happy that makes me. I think that's a really cool memory, and how it's associated with his dreams and almost kind of a prophetic experience for MotU Origins Cork. So thank you for sharing that one. Our next one comes from yet another Twitter user who goes by the name of Whitney. Whitney says, a memory from MotU I have had is when I was up at like 3 a.m. watching part 2 of Masters of the Universe Revelation. And at the final scene, I couldn't stop crying. And then I started laughing because Skeletor was getting possessed. So my whole family thought I was crazy. That one makes me laugh because I remember watching the show, as soon as it was available to stream when it first released. And I mean, it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and all these emotions from being satisfied and happy with how the show played out. It took a lot for me not to be too loud in my cheering so that I didn't wake up my family in the early hours of the morning. So I can relate with that experience, Whitney. Thank you. Now this memory comes from my good friend Maria Dos Lunas, who viewers might remember from a few of my videos, she jumps on and helps me out with a bunch of things, and she's a wonderful fan fiction author and has made some really cool customs from Barbie dolls. Um, and she's become a really good friend over the years since we've met, through the Masters of the Universe fandom. She shares two memories with us. Her first memory, she says, I have a very large extended family, as in my father has over 100 first cousins. This is extraordinary even for Mexican standards. So I remember family reunions with lots of children that I would just call cousins, without knowing exactly if they were first, second, or third degree cousins, or maybe even our youngest aunts and uncles. These sort of gatherings would happen more around Christmas time in what we call posadas here in Mexico. We would learn about the Nativity, pray a little, sing a little, and then have a blast with piñatas. It was at one of these gatherings that I remember seeing a MotU figure for the first time. Somebody was playing with it, and I asked if I could hold it. I didn't know what to make of it. In a way, it looked like a wrestling lucha libre figure, but not quite. It was more polished, with long blonde hair and a velvety vest. It was months later when I finally saw the cartoon and the TV ads and found out what was the deal. So the first MotU figure I ever saw was also my favorite character of the franchise, Prince Adam. What a fun way to be introduced to the series and to the toy line. And I like her second memory even more. She says, here's memory number 2. I didn't own any MotU figures growing up. I later had some Princess of Power figures, but since MotU was not branded for girls, I didn't get those for myself, and I didn't need to, because my good friend Mike had the entire collection, or the biggest collection I had seen to date. We lived in a provincial city where the selection of figures was limited. Mike's father traveled a lot because of his job and would get him new figures from Mexico City quite often. I remember very fondly how Mike told me that he asked his father to get Tila and Evelyn so I could play along with him and the rest of the boys. That's something I will never forget. We watched the Filmation show together and played for hours with his figures. I too have the power. She says that memory happened when she was around 5 or 6, and I think that's a really sweet memory to have, and I think that's a really good example of a good friend in Mike, in having that empathy and that thoughtfulness to ask his dad to get some figures that Maria could play with so that she could join in on the fun. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about enjoying this together and including people. Hey. Hi, everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying this little fireside story time that I put together. I know the sound quality is a little bit low based on where the camera was positioned and things like that. So I apologize for that. I did my best to edit the sound so that it could be heard, but I know it's a little bit difficult. So thank you for bearing with me. I'm jumping in here because there's a couple of other memories that came to me after I had recorded, and I wanted to get those in here as well. And this was the best way I could figure out how to segue into those. So that's the purpose of this interruption. And then we'll get back to the original video. The first video comes from a follower on both Twitter and Instagram. He goes by Geek Illustrator Dad. And he sent in a short video clip of his son who has fallen in love with He-Man and Masters of the Universe, as well as his daughter. But this is a short little video of his son opening up some gifts and just seeing his excitement. So I will cut to that.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! I got Turtle Skeletor! Yes! Oh, I got Faker! Fisto! Yes!
Okay, put it down.
And then the other memory that came in, this comes from a Twitter user that goes by the name of Yesterday's Pod. He says, well, my friend, you threw it out there, so here we go. 2022 He-Man, and I turned 40. My stepmother notoriously took issue with He-Man. So wifey goes all out and planned a surprise He-Man themed 40th birthday, best birthday. And then he shares some pictures of the cake and the party and things like that. So that's a lot of fun. And I mean, it goes both ways. A lot of us have memories, from when we were kids, but we also have memories as adults, as we are now. We're still enjoying uh, this franchise, and so it's never too late to enjoy Masters of the Universe. So thank you for sending that in yesterday's pod. I really appreciate it. And please, I know he does a nostalgia themed podcast that's pretty great. You can find it underneath that name, yesterday's pod. So that's my plug for him and the work he does. But yeah, greatly appreciate the support that he's given me, and look forward to more in the future. And so now, I think I've been able to get everything in. So now let's jump back into the show and go through the rest of the video. Thanks. The last memory I want to share comes from my friend Jukka Isakainen from Finland. Many of you will recognize Jukka from his wonderful contributions to the Masters of the Universe fandom and his vast knowledge on Masters of the Universe. Jukka shares, he says, a memory I've told many times in the past. Growing up, the animated series by Filmation had the biggest impact on me. The characters and stories were fantastic, and I loved how the world of Eternia looked as handled by the artists at Filmation. I collected the He-Man toys whenever possible. Usually it was my dad, during the weekends, when I visited him. Castle Grayskull especially was quite a sight in the cartoon, eerie yet atmospheric. So when I was about 4 years old, on Christmas in 1988, I was the happiest kid when among the presents there was a huge box dedicated just for me. I am very happy we have a couple photos from this moment. When my dad helps open up the Castle Grayskull playset for me, it was important for me that the toy looked like things I saw on TV. Hence, for example, I never got a Snake Mountain playset because it had a funny, ridiculous face and not the cool green snake that I saw on TV. But Grayskull was everything. I had hoped for. And when I played with the other kids on the playground, it also helped me to set up my base of operations faster. While my friend would first have to spend time building from the sand his own fortress for G.I. Joe figures, or later, turtles, I could always jump into playing with the figures. I still have my old Grayskull playset, and that Christmas all those years ago is one of my happiest memories from childhood. And then Yuka shares this message for everybody out there. And he says, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone. So I find it very touching that you all took the time to send me these memories and to share these stories with me. I think that's what's so fun about being united in a fandom like Masters of the Universe, is we all have these wonderful memories and experiences with the franchise and with this IP that speak to us and that resonate with us and resonate with so many other people. And it makes me happy. It makes me smile, and I love hearing stories from people and what their experiences are with Masters of the Universe. Before I go, I wanted to share a few of my own memories. And like I said, I've probably shared these before in different videos, but I have 3 memories that I want to share. My first memory is a Christmas memory, and obviously appropriate considering the season. When I was younger, my brother and I, we had a bunch of the figures because that's what my parents could afford, but we couldn't afford the bigger ticket items. Like, we couldn't afford a lot of the vehicles, and we couldn't afford the play sets for sure. So we didn't have Castle Grayskull and we didn't have Snake Mountain. And so my brother and I, we would make up for that by building our Castle Grayskull out of Legos and building blocks and wooden blocks that we had. Anything that we could find laying around that would work as a Castle Grayskull. But this Christmas morning, we woke up and we went down the stairs from our bedroom to where our Christmas tree was set up in the living room, and where we had set out our stockings for Santa to fill. And there in the middle of the floor in front of the tree was a customized, homemade wooden castle that my father had built for us in his wood shop in his spare, during his spare time. And this thing was beautiful. It was painted blue. It had cloth tapestries attached to it that my mother had made, and she had done all the hand painting and all the lettering and everything, all the sewing for all of it. It had built-in trap doors on the 4 turrets of the castle. It was a square shape, and I wish I had pictures of it. It's since, been lost. We played with it so much, it eventually broke. I just wish we had pictures of it. I searched high and low through all my parents' scrapbooks and photos, and I never could find photos of this specific castle, but I remember it so clearly. It was blue with red trim all around the castle, and over the front gate was a placard, and written on it was Eternia. So my parents had built us an Eternian palace, essentially, since we couldn't afford to have Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain or anything like that. And so this was the castle that we had growing up, that we played with all our Masters of the Universe figures on. And so we walked down and we saw this castle sitting in front of the tree, and my parents had taken the time to set up all of the figures that we had up. They set them up on this castle and around this castle in this massive battle. And that memory sticks with me so much that to this day, I like doing that for my children. A few years ago, when the Origins line Castle Grayskull was released, I set it up for them, so that they would find it Christmas morning and they would come in and see this big battle set up. That's how much it impacted me, and it's one of my favorite memories that I have of my childhood. So yeah, the other 2 memories that I have that I wanted to share come from my adult life. And this is definitely a story that I've shared many, many times. My wife and I got married 17 years ago, 17 and a half years ago. So we've been together for a long time, and it's been wonderful. She's my best friend, and she's my favorite person in the world. And for our wedding, when we were going through the planning phases of this all, we were college kids, still in college. We were trying to plan a wedding, and we were figuring out the wedding cake, and I jokingly said, hey, for our cake toppers, we should use He-Man and Teela, to represent us as the cake toppers. And I said it as a joke. I wasn't serious about it at all, because I knew it was a wedding, and we needed to be more, I guess, formal. But she loved the idea of it, and she was all for it, and she said, yeah, that's a great idea, let's do it. And so for our wedding, on our wedding cake, we had He-Man and Teela as our wedding cake toppers, and I'll share some pictures of that in this video. But that's always such a happy memory for me, because it just shows how much my wife appreciates what I'm passionate about and the things that I enjoy, to the point that she let me put action figures on our wedding cake. The second memory from my adulthood also comes from my wife. And as you can see, sitting here with me is the Masters of the Universe Classics Grayskull. This set, when it was released, we had just had our, second child. So we had 2 babies, and we didn't have a lot of money. She had finished college, but she was on maternity leave, and it was coming up to Christmas time. We had moved from our college town back to my hometown to work, so that I could work on the farm while I was looking for a job after I had graduated school. I hadn't yet found a job in my field yet. And so we were living back at home, renting a house, and just doing everything we could to make money and get by. And this was right in the middle of the Classics toy line run, where you would buy them online. And I'd bought a few figures here and there. Like I said, money was tight, and so it wasn't something that I could buy every figure that I wanted. And so I had to be very specific with the figures that I bought. And I bought maybe one every few months. I would buy one figure. And this was the time that, you know, Castle Grayskull was announced, and it was the crowd raising effort to get backers for the castle to be released. And I went back and forth on wanting to buy the castle, and just knowing that I wanted it. I had never had it as a kid, like I shared, but we just couldn't afford it. And so I had made the decision not to buy the Castle Grayskull. And then the castle was backed. People who had, you know, done the crowdfunding efforts, you know, had their castle secured. It wouldn't be released for, I think, another year. And then one day, close to Christmas, probably a week before Christmas, we got a delivery at our front door, and it was this massive box. And we opened it up, and it was the Classics Castle Grayskull. My wife had secretly bought the castle for me over a year ago, and she had kept it to herself this entire time. Here I was thinking that I had missed out on it, and that I wasn't going to be able to get it, and I was trying to be responsible, and she had bought it for me because she knew how much I wanted it and loved it, and she had spent, you know, saved all the extra money she could to be able to purchase this for me. And so, again, like the wedding memory that I shared, this is a really special memory for me. And I know that, you know, my wife loves me because, for, you know, many examples, but this is just one of the simple examples of her love for me, is that she supports me in my passion. She supports me in making these videos and running this channel and spending all the time that I do interviewing people and talking to people. She's always been 100% on board with it and supportive of me. And that's something that I cherish. And I do love her. And I know that she loves me, and that's something that's very special. And so I wanted to share that with all of you. Those are my favorite memories regarding Masters of the Universe. And I have many more. I'll probably share them at some point down the road. But I think for now, we're probably out of time. And my fire is beginning to die. And so I think maybe this is a good time to end this video. And I appreciate all of you tuning in to listen and to watch. And I appreciate all of you who have sent me your memories and messages and shared those with me. And why don't we go ahead and wrap this up. And I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. I wish you happy holidays. And please be safe. Enjoy your families. And you have the power. Wait a minute. I'm getting a message, an incoming message. Give me 1 second. Let me bring this up. Well, it looks like we're getting a call from somebody. Who could this be?
Oh, hi. Hi there, Colt. Happy holidays.
Hi, Teddy. Happy holidays to you. It's our good friend Ted Biaselli. That's you.
That is me.
Well, what are you up to today?
Oh, you know, I got a bunch of Amazon packages today that I had to wrap all day. I'm having a whole bunch of people coming over for Christmas Day, not Christmas Eve this year, Christmas Day. A lot of orphans in town in LA. So I'm having something like 10 people over. Tim's coming over. We'll have a nice little holiday dinner. It'll be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
How about you?
Well, what I've been doing today, I've been sitting here by the fireplace sharing some stories from fans and followers of my channel who have sent in their stories and memories of what Masters of the Universe mean to them. And I've shared a few of my own, and I was just wrapping up when you called.
I love that. Oh,
well, thank you.
I mean, I have no warm memories of Masters of the Universe at all, actually.
Not at all. I'll bet you do.
Actually, MotU and Christmas are intrinsically tied for me. When I was a kid, Christmas of '83, I believe, I went over my grandparents' house. Our tradition was always go over my grandparents' house on Christmas Eve. The whole family was there, all extended family, cousins, uncles, everything. And I would always get a big present from my grandparents on Christmas Eve. and that lasted, all the way until their deaths. But the Christmas of '83 was when I went over there and I got Castle Grayskull.
Oh,
And it was very sort of eventful because at the time I didn't have a single Masters of the Universe figure. I had like I think that the cartoon had just started in September of '83, and I was in love with it. It's all I watched. And we didn't have a lot of money. My parents were not very well off, but my grandparents, they had money. And if they didn't, they put it on credit cards. But they would always give me the big gift, and then my parents would always, supplement that. And they would always like go to extremes around the holidays. I didn't get stuff all year long, but I would get really, really taken care of at the holidays. And Christmas Eve, I opened my Castle Grayskull, and it was kind of like to say it changed my life is an understatement. It changed my life. But I didn't have any figures to play with it. I had nothing. And I had this weird emotion the whole night of, oh my God, I got Castle Grayskull. Oh, I don't have any figures for it. I don't have E-Man. I don't have Skeletor. I don't have anybody. And my mom said, well, don't worry. Santa knows. Santa knows. And I went to bed Christmas Eve. And then I woke up the next morning, and under the tree was every figure out at that point. So it was the holiday of '83. So that was the year that Triclops and Trapjaw and Point Dread and Attack Track and all of those were out that year. And that was the big Christmas that I got sort of all of it. And I remember I have these vivid memories of my Aunt Madge coming over Christmas morning, and we were opening everything together, and she was comparing the mini comics and like, oh, you got two of the same ones, like, like what is the magic? Why do you have two copies of the Tale of Tila? Like those are kinds of like those things. It was vivid memories of that. My mom, I remember I got the Tila Zor 2-pack. And my mom was opening that. That was how I got both of those. My mom was really big on the multi-packs that year. I got He-Man and Battle Cat, Skeletor and Panther, Tila and Zor. And I remember my mom, and the only one I didn't get a 2-pack was Screech. I did not get the Skeletor Screech 2-pack. But I remember having vivid memories of my mom and I opening those toys together. And, she was playing with Zor, I was playing with Screech. And like just so many memories of all of those characters. The only figure I did not get that year was Man-E-Faces. And there's a story around that. My next door neighbor, Frankie, had figures that year. And I was so enamored with Frankie's figures. And he had lent me his Man-E-Faces. He'd said, here, you can play with my Man-E-Faces. And because I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, he could change his face. And my mom thought he gave him to me. So she didn't get me Man-E-Faces. And I had to give my Man-E-Faces back to Frankie. And it was like, oh, I don't have Man-E-Faces. And it was kind of a thing where I was like, I didn't get Man-E-Faces for quite a while. And I remember, I think my Aunt Madge might have gotten me Man-E-Faces at that point because I told her the story. So yeah. And then years later, I think it was the Christmas of '86, I was, like all kids do, snooping through my parents' closet. And in the back of their closet, I saw the box to the Fright Zone.
Oh.
And that was like that was like, whoa, you got the Fright Zone. And I was like, and of course it was like 2 weeks before Christmas. Right. And I was telling everyone that I was getting the Fright Zone for Christmas. I was telling everybody. Frankie knew I was getting the Fright Zone. Everybody knew I was getting the Fright Zone. But I couldn't tell my parents that I knew that I was getting the Fright Zone. So yeah, Christmas and MotU have always like sort of tied into me. Yeah,
that's awesome. And I think that's what is so fun about this IP and how we associate it with our childhood. I know for me, it just, when I think about it, And when I see the toys, and even the new toys, when I see them on the shelves at the stores and stuff, it just takes me back to how I felt as a kid about it. And it's fantastic, and it's something that I'll always treasure. And I can tell, obviously, that you treasure those memories as well. And
Oh
I just
yeah.
think that's fantastic.
Some of my best memories of my family involve MotU. It's
Hmm.
crazy. Like everybody knew how much it meant to me. I funny story, it has nothing to do with Christmas, but I had the worst case of chicken pox that my doctor had ever seen.
Oh
They
no.
were they were in my throat. They had in my eyes. They had closed my eyes. I couldn't see anything. I had to wear socks on my hands because I couldn't scratch. It was horrid. And my I grew up in Philadelphia, and my grandparents and my two great aunts were at the Deptford Mall in Deptford, New Jersey,
Okay.
and there was a KB Toy and Hobby there, and my aunt went to a payphone because there was a whole bunch of they wanted to get me something to cheer me up and make me feel better when I was sick. And there was a whole bunch of new Masters of the Universe stuff that they were putting out. And my aunt wrote them all down on a little notepad. And she went over to the payphone and called my mom and said, "Does Teddy have Blast Attack, Rotar, Twistoid, Squeeze?" And she's King Randor, she's naming all like the 86, 87 line. And my mom comes in and she goes, she's got the phone on the it was the wireless, the one with the antenna that you pull up. It was
Yeah.
and she comes in, she goes, "The Image is at Deptford Mall, and she's asking, do you have Squeak, Blast Attack, Rotar, and I'm like, and this was pre-internet. We didn't know that these characters were coming. I don't think anybody knew
Hmm.
what a Rotar or a Twistoid was back then. Like we had to wait until we saw them on the
Right.
shelves before we knew what they were. And I'm thinking I have a fever and I'm delusional, and they're just making names up that like what? Who? No. What are they? And my grandmother, my grandfather, my Aunt Madge, and my Aunt Franny, they came back with a giant bag of all of that wave of figures of everything that came out that year. It was bananas. So like talk about like a great memory
Yeah.
of MotU and those, like, again, nothing to do with Christmas. I was
Sure,
literally
sure. That's fine.
I was on my deathbed. The
That's
worst case
awesome.
box ever. But like again, tied so intrinsically to MotU.
Yeah. I love that so much. That's just wonderful.
Not the chicken pox. Chicken pox are not
No,
one.
not the chicken pox. That's awful. Chicken pox sucks. The memory of MotU. Well, that's
Again,
wonderful.
that was what, 40 years ago, and I still
Hmm.
remember that. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
Crazy.
And that's what's fantastic about it. And it'll be something that we hang on to and look back on fondly for the rest of our lives.
Does anybody, I mean, like, is there the equivalent of that today? I feel like everything is in the digital space nowadays.
I feel
And
like that's how it is too.
yeah,
It's
there's
hard. It's so hard shopping for my kids. I mean, now they're teenagers, so it's even harder. But when they were kids, they just didn't. There was nothing that would stick with them. It's all random. Like everybody's obsessed with getting an iPad so they can play games on it.
yeah.
And I
I
mean,
love
Michelle and I are like, we're not getting them iPads when they're 4. Like that's ridiculous. But it is what it is.
Yeah, we're in a new, I think, there's a lot to be said about the current state of toy lines. And MotU gets a lot of target online about, oh, look, nothing's selling across any of the lines.
Yeah.
Marvel is clogging pegs. Star Wars is clogging pegs. The only things that are selling are things based on, but even Fortnite. I was going to say, well, Fortnite figures, even Fortnite figures are clogging pegs.
Yep.
There is like the figures from the Super Mario Brothers movie are just, it is a solid end cap at Target that's just not.
Yeah, they're just everywhere.
want to play with toys anymore. I think it's just it's a relic. It's a relic of a different generation. And I think
Yeah.
we have such fond memories of it. I love what toy companies are doing nowadays. I have an entire NECA Gargoyles collection, and it's
Hmm.
glorious, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, oh, they're so good. And everything that NECA is doing with the Universal Monsters, I love, and GI Joe Classified is killing it. Killing it. I have my Hess tank. I have not opened it yet, and
Oh, wow.
it's killing me that I haven't opened it yet, but I wanted to, like, I was traveling and then I came home, and now that the year is ending, I can like spend some time with it. It is
Hmm.
95% going to be my toy of the year. I'm almost positive it is. I thought
Awesome.
I thought that one of the two turtle vans might have
Yeah.
been my toy of the year, but I think the tank's going to edge it out. I got both the NECA and the Super 7 turtle van over there.
Okay.
That Super 7 one is insanely good. I
Yeah.
was very surprised because I'm a toon guy. Like, I love
Hmm.
the designs. And I was so excited for the NECA turtle van, and it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Super 7 one, and I never had the vintage turtle van.
Hmm.
So I don't have like a nostalgia for that particular vehicle, but the paint, the detailing, it's gorgeous, and it's huge. It is infinitely bigger than the NECA one.
Yeah. It looks big. That's awesome. It's a time to be alive. I feel like we're
I don't
just
know how long it's going to last, though.
right.
I think the market is hitting it's hitting a tipping point. I look at stuff like Super 7, like all those Ultimates that I spent full price on are all on sale.
Yeah. Yeah. The Slash that I just got, it went on sale for $10.
Yeah.
It's
And
wild.
I think that there was a quick boom during COVID because I feel like people were buying toys because what else could they do?
Yeah. What else do you do?
I mean, there was just it was a quick fix of adrenaline, and oh my God, I got endorphin rush. Great. And then, we were still living in a pandemic, but I feel like, as we move through that and move into, the future, I feel like there's less and less of love for tangible collecting. I just don't think it resonates as widely as it did when we were kids.
Yeah. I
At
think that's
least not to
accurate.
this scale with, like, the highly detailed figures and the paint and the articulation and all that stuff. I think for the most part, kids will still be into collecting something, but I think that there's a lot of it online that's digital, that moves, that talks, that's beautifully animated and rendered, or it's those like the Disney Store minis, like you open the ball and there's like 100 little Disney Store things in there.
Right. Right.
Things are kind of fun, and I get that they're collecting. They're also super cheap to produce.
Yeah.
Super cheap to produce. And something like that is much more aligned with what, that it satiates that need to collect without having to be like highly detailed. I just think
Yeah.
we were around at a great time, and that's
Yep.
how I look at it.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
That's okay. So, well, I'm so glad you stopped by to visit.
Thank
This has
you.
been fun.
I'm so glad too. I wanted to sort of hang out a little bit more before the end of the year. Obviously, we got good stuff
Yeah.
coming in January with Revolution.
Is there anything about that you can tell us?
Is there anything about that I can tell you? Revolution launches January 25th. I think you may be seeing a trailer and a poster very soon into the new year.
Awesome. Well,
And
we will look forward to that.
the poster is once again done by our friend Nate Barch.
Mhm.
It is gorgeous as usual. And then there is the trailer is really, really fun. I saw a cut of it. Mattel saw it. Kevin saw it. We're all good. So we're just
Awesome.
finishing now. We're tweaking the sounds and getting it all polished and making it great.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
And
Well,
then,
it sounds like the new year is going to be great. Going to
yeah,
start off great.
hopefully I'll come back and we'll chat about it after you've watched it. And if you love it, you'll tell me that. If you hate it, I'm sure you and a billion other people will tell me. So
We will definitely talk about it. Well, that's awesome. Well, I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your
And you,
family and your
your
loved
family as
ones.
well.
I love you, Ted. I think you're
Back at
amazing.
you, my friend. Back at you.
So, well, I will let you go now.
Bye. Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
my friend.
Merry Christmas.
Be good.
All right, so there we have it, everybody. This is the end of our video. That was a fun surprise guest that we had from good old Ted Biaselli. Always enjoy chatting with him. And he gave us some fun news to look forward to. We've got a trailer coming and a poster coming in early January. So that'll be something awesome to look forward to. I just wanted to finish by saying how much I appreciate everybody out there who has supported me and kind of joined me on this journey. It's been nearly a year since I started doing this, and it's been the most incredible thing. It feels like a dream come true, and I'm very proud of myself with what I've done. I've accomplished every goal I set for myself, and I feel really good. And I'm glad you have been here with me for that ride. I have more things planned for the new year. Um, I'll have some Revolution discussions and talks that are already in the planning stage right now. And I'll have some further interviews that I can't quite announce just yet, but they are very, very exciting. I will say that one of them is in regard to some as of yet unannounced news for the Turtles of Grayskull crossover. So that will be fun. And then I've got another view lined up that can't be announced just yet, but that will be exciting. So that will all come in the new year. So until then, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and to celebrate, the Christmas season, I want to do a giveaway. I want to give back to you guys. And so what I thought I would do is I've got a couple of figures here that are unopened. Pull them up here. One of them is the New Eternia Man-at-Arms. And the other one is the Turtles of Grayskull Man-at-Arms. And I chose Man-at-Arms just because it lines up with, my Dad-at-Arms channel. And so I thought that would be a fun way to celebrate the end of the year, celebrate my first year in doing this and the things that I've accomplished, to celebrate you guys, and to, celebrate Christmas. And so I'm going to do this giveaway where 2 people will get one of these figures. In order to be eligible for the giveaway, you need to be subscribed to my channel and my Twitter account and my Instagram account. If you're already subscribed, that's great. You can still be eligible to receive these, to receive a gift by liking this video, sharing this video, and commenting on this video. So those will be the rules with this video specifically. Like, share, and comment, and make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, my Twitter feed, and my Instagram page. And I will include all the details of that in the description for the video. And then I'll announce it on Instagram and Twitter as well. So those are the parameters. And then I'll do a random drawing probably at the first of the year and send these things out. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for everything, and enjoy the holidays. Be safe, be happy. And from my heart to yours, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And you have the power.